So mm, for last I think 2 to 3 weeks we were talking in different about coronavirus and the treatment Ayurvedic treatments on this COVID situation in Marathi, Hindi, and today we are going to discuss it in the in English language. So when it was decided that we have to we have to discuss or share our point of thought on coronavirus in English, uh, I thought that I should share this information. See, for last 6 months we have heard a lot of things regarding coronavirus and the COVID disease, and we have read a lot of researches also. Hmm? So there are researches which are actually scientific, and there are researches which are unscientific, or we can call them as fake researches or fear mongering researches. Okay, so these types of crap researches are always going on, and media is encouraging these types of research to promote or and broadcast and publish these types of researches very enthusiastically. But the media, the mass media, the mainstream media is is least interested to to uh, to make aware the real science, the real knowledge, the real debate regarding this coronavirus issue. I wanted to share one thing. If you can see my screen, can you read this? This is one research. This type of crap researches are going on. So I wanted to share this. Can you read it? It says, does speaking English spread coronavirus quicker? So such types of researches are going on, and why these researches are going on? These researches are going on so that you are you and all the people around the world are always are kept have to be kept always under the fear. That is the main that is the main purpose of this so-called pandemic. We say it not a pandemic, it is a plandemic, because everything is planned. The the infection of or the infection of which virus has to be there, or the pandemic of which virus has to be there was also planned. The testing kits were already produced before the pandemic. The how many PPE kits will be required, how many masks will be required, how many ventilators will be required, how it will get distributed. All these things were discussed just prior to the first case we saw in Wuhan. So uh, there is a lot of things we have heard about viruses. Today I want to tell uh, something different, and not because I want to say something different. Actually, I wanted to tell the real thing, and that thing I'm going to share with you. It's a big uh, topic, so there are a lot of things I have to tell. So one by one, I'm going to try, and I'm going to try so that as much as all the points are covered in my session. So we'll start one by one. Okay. So first thing is initially what we have. Okay. Uh, Before starting that thing, what I want to say is, we have that कहावत, साला एक मच्छर आदमी को हिजड़ा बना देता है. We have we have listened in some famous movie of, it's a dialogue by Nana Patekar. साला एक मच्छर आदमी को हिजड़ा बना देता है और एक वायरस हमें स्टूपिड बना देता है, स्टूपिड। और ये स्टूपिडिटी अभी चल रही है पूरे विश्व में। प्रॉब्लम, व्हाट इज द रियल प्रॉब्लम? द रियल प्रॉब्लम, suppose if there is if I say, if I draw there is a blackboard, there is a blackboard, and if I make a dot on with a chalk on a blackboard, and if we ask, what do you see? Generally people will say, we see a dot, a white dot on the white dot. But no one's, or very small number of people say, we also see a blackboard, right? Similarly, in this case, all the focus we have, our focus, our focus has been towards that virus. But virus is just one thing, and not just one thing. It is not the fundamental thing. It is not the fundamental cause of any disease. It can be a trigger, or it can be just an opportunist cause, but not the fundamental cause. A virus, a bacteria, or any sort of microorganisms, they are never the fundamental cause of our disease. When I am saying a disease, let me clarify, because it has become so important today to just explain what a disease is. Because for the last 6 months, they go on testing people, and once they see that the test result is positive, they say, we have got one more patient. We have got one more patient. So today, so many 1,000 patients, 2,000 patients were detected. Actually, we have to review the definitions of each and everything. You might think that, what is it? How relevant it is? It is a most relevant thing, what I am going to tell you. The first thing is, when a microorganism comes inside our body, it is called infection. Just the entry of the microorganism is called infection, nothing else. Okay, but just mere entry in the body of the microorganism is infection, but not a disease. Disease is something different. Disease, as the word denotes, disease is when you lose your easiness, the naturalness. When there is a disturbance in the easiness of living, that is called disease. And I would like to tell you that in our body, there are trillions of cells, our cells, trillions of cells. The body is made up of trillions of cells. Our body is made of trillions of cells. But there are 10 times more bacteria in our body than our cells. And also, there are 10 times more viruses than the bacteria in our body. So we are always living in harmony together. So just the entry of an microorganism, that is an infection, is not a disease. Until there is no disease, you cannot call that person, that individual, a patient. So I would say, when some individuals investigation test comes positive, it is not a case also. It is not a case also. Because if you go on investigating for each and every bacteria and each and every viruses, then we are always patient. If infection and investigation finding of positive finding means a patient, then we are always patient. Then why the definitions have changed for only for coronavirus? What is there? I'll come to that thing afterwards later. But let me try to explain that the infection is not a disease. Disease means when there is some trouble and the body, till it is not getting troubled with anything foreign matter, maybe something or any microorganism, till it is not getting troubled with some foreign germ, till that moment it doesn't react. It has its own sensory things inside, intelligence inside, which analyzes each and everything, each and every minute thing. And only if that trigger is making some trouble or is going to make some trouble, then only our internal defense system acts as a defense. Till that, the germ can stay in our body in harmony with us. The thing why I am telling this is, as you have heard from the news and the media, that the majority of people, about 90% of people, don't have any symptoms. But when they are tested, investigated, in the laboratory, they are found that the virus is present inside their body. But because the virus is not making any trouble, so from inside they don't create any antibodies also, nor their T cells are activated, nor internally any war is happening, any battle is happening to kill that virus. Such intelligent thing is inside us. We are made up of that intelligence, of that wisdom. But this, what I would say, the germophobic science of today, medical science of today, they say that even if there are no symptoms in this individual, we are going to call him a patient. We are going to call that person, that individual, a patient. And for that, they have derived one innovative term. And that term is asymptomatic patient. Not in my entire life till now, I have heard of this terminology. Asymptomatic patient. What does that mean? There is no trouble. And because there are no symptoms, there is no trouble. But when there is no trouble, it is not a disease. And when there is not disease, then why you are calling that individual a patient? So one thing. The other thing I wanted to share is very important fundamental things I am going to tell. I'm not going to go into the statistics. What you are always or in the 6 months you have been told always the statistics. 99% or 98% are safe. Only 1%, 2% are vulnerable, and those things. That makes no sense actually. because only 2% are vulnerable. Okay, 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 okay. For a moment, you say, okay, okay, only 2%. That means we don't have to take any tension. But the next moment, what happens is you are not being told that in which category you are, whether you are in the 98% or you are from the 2% who are vulnerable. That makes 100% people vulnerable, unassured. And so everyone tries to take precautions, not cautions, precautions. Before anything happens, you take all the measures in such a level that those precautions are creating a lot of complications. I'll come to that also. Just now, I wanted to clear one thing, that as infection doesn't mean disease, similarly, the investigation, that is a test, and the finding of test is not a diagnosis, is not a diagnosis. Diagnosis means understanding the disease, the causes of disease, how the disease and the different symptoms are happening, why they are happening, how they are formed, the whole story. Okay, the whole story is diagnosis. And for that diagnosis, you examine the patient. You examine the patient. Hmm? Just a minute. So you examine the patient in three ways. We call in Ayurveda, we call it Darshana, Sparshan, and Prashna Pariksha. So what is Prashna Pariksha? Prashna Pariksha is the dialogue of the clinician, the physician, with the patient. So what information I'm getting? So it is all the investigation is about collecting information that will help to diagnose the disease, to understand the disease, how the disease has formed, what is the stage just now, and because we know the causes, we know how it has happened, so we can undo whatever has happened, because it's the reverse thing. So in dialogue, we get to know how the patient's hunger is, what is about his taste details, energy levels, whether it is he has the well-beingness, the smell, the touch, its motions, the urine output, its sweat, breathing, sleep, thoughts, thirst, pain, vision, etc., etc. By touching, in Ayurveda, we have the Nadi Pariksha also. So we understand which dosha has aggravated. By percussion, we know where the problems are. We understand oxygen levels, we know the pulse rate, with temperature, all those things. And the third thing is the visual. Okay, and from in one of the visual examination is investigation, the PCR test, what we are doing for the virus. So if you see, more than 90% of people who are tested for this PCR test, the test comes positive, but they have no symptoms. They are perfectly okay. On the other hand, there are individuals, a lot of individuals, whose test comes negative, but a lot of symptoms are there. What does this mean? This only means that the symptoms, the causes of the symptoms that are happening, the causes and the symptoms are due to some other reasons and not due to this coronavirus. Till today, there is no etiology explained how the coronavirus develops these many symptoms. There is no etiology. And when there is no etiology, on what basis you are giving the treatment? So, the one thing is, till your body doesn't analyze that a specific germ is doing any harm to you, till that moment, it doesn't start to fight against it. Okay, so if your antibodies, if your blood has not developed any antibodies, and if you have no symptoms, that doesn't mean that you are vulnerable. That only means that your body in your body there are a lot of things apart from your antibodies, apart from your T cells. There are a lot of viruses, bacteria, other germs who can also tackle with the virus if it is required. I'm not saying that the coronavirus thing doesn't exist. There are experts all around the world. You can, if you search and explore, you can see there are a lot of protests happening in Europe, like in Britain, in France, in Spain, in the USA, everywhere, the New Zealand, everywhere there are protests, and the protesters are not laypersons. They are experts, experienced from the medical field, from the law field, different fields. And they are protesting because they are saying that till today, the novel coronavirus has not been isolated. And if there is no paper or no fact telling or showing that we have isolated the virus, so if that is the case, then how before that you have developed this PCR test for the same virus? Then how you can say that that virus remains active on plastic for so many hours? The virus remains active on steel on so many hours. How can you say that that virus travels for 5 feet 11 inches and before 6 feet 2 feet, oh no, 6 feet, it drops? How can you say that the virus doesn't enter through the mask? So all these things have happened so fast only because the one thing they have done is they have promoted the fear mongering. And the fear is about death. Everyone is going to die one day, but everyone wants to delay it as long as far as possible. So just now what is happening is not science, but a lot of chaos. What Ayurveda says is for anything, for anyone's existence. Just a minute, Sahilji.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm audible, no?
Yes, sir, you can. You are totally audible. No issues.
So can I share mm,
Yes, you
my
can. You can.
okay.
It, it's active.
Okay. So just a minute.
Sir, it is visible. You can start.
Yes, yes. Okay. So as you can see the slide, hmm, as you can see the slide, the face mask is is ineffective. Hmm? It's harmful too because it is hindering your breathing process. No person I have seen is very happy with the mask. As fast as possible, as soon as possible, wherever possible, he tries to remove the mask. And it is not possible for a single person to wear the mask 24 hours and in exactly how it is meant to be, because it is not natural. And the irony is whatever is natural has become the new normal. Whatever abnormal, whatever used to be abnormal has become today's new normal. So there are people who don't have any temperature rise. So, but they test positive for the coronavirus. So checking the temperature makes no sense. The social distancing has become so disastrous. Our social fiber has totally damaged. Specifically, if you, with respect to the children, the kids, we have made a very criminal and very evil act for them. They have not seen their friends for 6 months. They have not seen each other's laughing, smiling faces for 6 months. They are sitting in in the room, in the home. They have not fought with each other. They have not played with each other. How can how can these all things be healthy? And for what? For that virus, which has absolutely, which is absolutely harmless. At least if you compare it to the children. I would like to share one more screen. Uh, if you can see this screen, 0 to 9 years old, there are no fatalities. 10 to 19 years, 0.2%. Up to 39, 0 to 39 years, it is not more than 0.2%. For this 19.2% only, we are we have caged everyone the inside the house. This house arrest. And whatever figures these are from the New York uh, figures. In India, the percentage is way below this. So what I'm trying to say is this this is not a dangerous thing. This is absolutely not a dangerous thing. It is dangerous to whom? For a small percentage of those whom we are calling vulnerable. But who are the vulnerable? That is the point. There, that we are not able to understand who are the vulnerable. So what we did is we made zones. I think you may be remembering the red zone, the orange zone, the green zone. It was absolutely stupid to do that. And on that basis, lockdown is the most, what I would say, stupid only. The zones are not to be demarcated on the basis of geography. The zones are to be demarcated on individual base. In one home, there may be some vulnerable people. You can put them in the red zone. You can isolate them in a room and take care of them in a way. The other people who are not in red zone, who are not red zone, need not worry. They should continue with their livelihood, regular activities. But what has happened? The government has not listened to the experienced, to the experts. They have listened to the culprits who have actually created this all conspiracy, and they are looking towards the same people as saviors. They are asking to bring the vaccine as soon as possible, so that we can inject them in the bodies, which is going to be a big disaster. I'll come to that later. So what Ayurveda says is very simple. As I told you that for every disease, whatever symptoms are showing, they should have some cause. Without cause, nothing happens. Until you don't understand the causes behind the symptoms that are presented, you don't get the direction to treat it. And so Ayurveda says three things: Hetu, Linga, Aushadha. The causes, the symptoms, and its treatment. Without cause, you cannot understand why the symptoms have arisen. And without that, you are not in the position to give the treatment. So let's see what, according to Ayurveda, all these, the disease or the diseases or the symptoms, what do they mean? One more thing I want to tell you, that there is a concept in Ayurveda. All concepts in Ayurveda are actually the observations of nature only. It is not out of nature. Ayurveda is not something which is unnatural. It's nature. The word Ayurveda is saying Ayu means life, and Ved means to know, understanding, seeking the wisdom behind life, to understand life. So it is nature. So for everyone's existence, Ayurveda says these four factors are very essential. We call them Rutu, Kshetra, Ambu, and Bij. As you can see, Rutu means the favorable climate condition. For any organism, any seed, for any culture, for any city to flourish, proper climate conditions, favorable climate conditions is a prerequisite. If the climate conditions are not favorable, your existence is in trouble. Likewise, proper place has to be there on which you can thrive. If it is not there, it is not possible to grow. If a farmer places a seed in a bottle instead of in the field, in the soil, the seed will not germinate. So the favorable space is very important, very essential. Next thing is AMBU, the nutrition. Even if climate conditions are proper, the field is proper, but if you are not providing proper nutrition, then that beach, that life will not get nurtured. So these three things are very essential for the existence of that beach, that is that entity. And the fourth thing, the that entity itself, it has to have the vigor to live. A dead seed will not be going to live or going to grow. So similarly, even if the virus is, we get infected with the virus or any germ, and the virus is inside us, till our body gives that virus favorable climate conditions inside our body, till our body gives proper space, proper place, favorable for its growth, till our body gives proper nutrition, whatever is required by that microorganism, to that microorganism, till these three things are not given, supplied, provided, till that moment, that virus, that microorganism is not able to sustain its life in our body. This is the fundamental concept or approach of Ayurveda. We are not going to kill the virus. We don't have any medicine to kill the virus. We don't need to kill the virus. Why should we? Ayurveda is about life. It is not anti-life. It is not to kill ourselves also or anyone else also. What we know is the law of survival of the fittest. How can we just keep such a condition that it becomes unfavorable for any microorganisms that we don't intend to? We have that guidance. Ayurveda has that guidance.
Sachin ji, we lost you. Sachin sir, sorry to say, I think we lost Sachin sir. He'll be back in a moment. For any other queries, if you have, you can post your questions in the chat box, or you can raise hand in the participant section. Your questions will be taken off in the Q&A session. And the second thing is the recording will be available on www.coronapositive.com. In this, the change is we have replaced C with K. I'll post the website link on the chat box. And the second thing
Hello.
is you can
Hello,
connect with,
Sahil.
yes, sir, you're audible, sir. One second.
Yes.
1 second, sir. And if you have any queries, you can connect with Vinayak Raikar ji. I'll post the contact details in on the chat box. Sir, you are back. You can continue.
Yes, thanks. There was some connection problem, I think.
No issues, sir.
So I was telling that these four factors are very essential for to be favorable for any individual, any entity for its existence. So what is happening is only those people who are giving favorable conditions of Rutu, Kshetra and Ambu, climate, place and nutrition to this virus, only in those people the virus grows. But now the other thing, the virus is not creating the symptoms, because if you remember, I just said there are a lot of people whose tests are positive, but there are no symptoms, and there are a lot of people whose test is negative, but the symptoms are there. That means the symptoms, whatever symptoms are happening, are due to some different reasons. And what I want to tell just now is why these symptoms are happening, why the people are getting sick. And to understand it, Ayurveda says the for any disease to happen, till we are eating food only when we are hungry, we are properly, very intensely hungry, only then if we are eating food, then that in that case only the food gets digested. If the food gets digested properly, then only the nutrient value is created out of that food. Only that nutrient food can build our strength in our body, in our cells. If and that strength out of that nutrient food, whatever strength is built up, that strength is actually your immunity. In the absence of hunger, if you are eating without a hunger, just because now it's 12 o'clock, so we have to eat, or before sleeping we have to eat. If you have made a routine and you are not supplying when it is demanded, then, and if you are supplying such food that is heavy to digest, and that too in these seasons, the summer season and in the rainy season, the hunger is naturally down. Only in winter you have your digestive power enhanced. In summer and in rainy season, you should eat food which are light to digest, not heavy to digest. All these factors, plus due to lockdown, we are sitting inside our houses, we are not going out, we are having no activity, bodily activity. we are just eating every day. And in lockdown, a lot of people have eaten creative recipes. Due to what? A lot of indigestion has happened. And out of indigestion, we, there is what we call as ARM. ARM, that is indigested food, is generated inside our belly. And the other product, what happens is Vayu, the impure Vayu is created. Because of this, there is complete disturbance in the metabolism. And due to that, this Vayu mixes with the normal oxygen, and because of that, the oxygen levels are dropped. If you see in the oximeter, you will see the oxygen levels have dropped in certain patients. Why? Because of indigestion, and indigestion, the Vayu, the gas formed from the indigestion. This indigested food, this Vayu, takes out of your stomach, out of the intestine, and starts circulating all over the body. This ARM, indigested food, then comes inside your under the skin and blocks the sweat glands. Due to that, the sweat, normally sweat is always coming, okay, in sometimes the amount is high, sometimes it is low, but it is always, so that the body temperature is regulated. But because this indigested food comes inside that sweat gland, not gland, the ductile, from where the sweat comes out, it blocks the exit of sweat, and due to that, the heat gets obstructed in beneath the skin, and then we start feeling feverish. The other thing what happens is the fire in the belly, what we call as Agni. The Agni, which actually is very essential to digest the food. This maligned Vayu, what it does is it brings that Agni also under the skin. Due to what? The fever or the temperature rises more. And on the other hand, that fire has gone out of the belly, so there is no fire inside your stomach now, very less. And due to that, you start feeling cold, you start feeling shivering. The other thing what this Vayu does is, our whole body is lined by a mucosal lining. It is mucosa. It is how, if you say, when you break an egg, what the liquid, it is very slippery, slimy. That slimy thing, similar slimy thing, it is the lining of all areas inside our body. It's called mucosa. So suppose there is a blood vessel. Okay, this is a blood vessel. In the inner lining is of mucosa. Okay, the inner lining is of mucosa. It is slippery, it is lubricant, it is smooth. Okay, so it has a lot of functions. It is the main, due to that, we have the immunity actually. It is the shock absorber. It is a lubricant. It assesses the flow of the different things in the blood vessel. So such mucosa, slippery mucosa, when this bad Vayu acts, there is a change in its property, in its structure. This Vayu has a drying property. If you see in outside also, when we tie the clothes uh, in air, in the wind, they dry up very soon. Or we so likewise, when this vayu acts on this mucosa, it absorbs the moisture from the mucosa and dries it. And because it gets dried, the mucosa structure changes to sticky. Sticky. Initially, it was slimy. Now it has become sticky. Initially, it was slimy, lubricant. So it was assisting the flow inside the vessel. Now it has become sticky. And so now it is resisting. It is holding all the things instead of making it freely flow. This thing, when it is happening inside our body, entire body, the nutrients are not able to flow properly and reach the tissues, the cells for their nutrition. On the one hand, the digestion has already disturbed, but whatever nutrient value, even if it has dropped to 30% efficiency, but whatever is coming into the circulation, that is also not able to reach the tissues. And so the tissues, at the tissue level, there is a malnutrition, and because of that, there is a lot of weakness. Similarly, this sticky mucus, we call it kapha. It also holds the red blood corpuscles also. And as we know, the red blood corpuscles carry oxygen. Okay. But due to that, and also due to the impure vayu mixed with it, the oxygen levels are dropped. The oxygen is unable to reach properly to the tissues, and so there are blue coloration, bluishness, blackish coloration or numbness in your fingers, in your hands, also in the body also. There a lot of coagulation is happening inside your body. What happens is, to correct this, what treatment is been given, I'll tell you later. But this is the thing what is happening. Due to indigestion, due to this vayu, it is damaging the consistency of the mucosa. Similarly, in the chest, the mucosa has the main place. The kapha has the main place in the chest. There also the mucosa has become sticky, and due to sticky, it is obstructing the airway. So there is short breathness, or there is difficulty in breathing. The patient then tries to breathe with effort, but still, when it is not able to do it, it is not helping. He thinks that with coughing out, that mucosa will go out and he will get relief. So he tries to cough, but because that mucosa has become sticky, it has stuck to the branches of the alveoli in the trachea and bronchioles. The patient is unable to expel the mucosa out, and so he coughs, but the cough is dry cough, the dry coughing. No cough comes out. So the patient tries to cough with a greater strength, a greater effort, but the cough doesn't come, the mucosa doesn't come out. Instead, the blood vessels, very small, minute blood vessels, because of the pressure of coughing, they break up and blood comes out. When so now, what treatments are are been given in the government centers, or the what the protocol is? I'll tell you. The first thing, they give antipyretic analgesic, that is a medicine, maybe crocin, maybe dolo, or anything, paracetamol, or um, or ecosprin, aspirin, or anything, so that the fever subsides. How does it work? See, I told you, in the sweat ductile, that arm, that indigested thing has gone there, and it has stopped the sweat. The heat passing, expelling out is stopped with that arm. So this small opening has been closed as a lid. The arm is working as a lid. When you give a, a medicine which is for lowering the fever, what it does is it expands the lumen of the that ductile, and because of that, the sweat gets the opportunity to come out, and because of that, the heat is expelled out. With that, sweat also goes out, and with that, the fire which is essential for digestion is also thrown out. What happens is, fever goes off, but the patient loses its digestive strength, the digestion strength, the fire, the agni. The thing which has to be recovered, has to be brought towards your stomach, towards the alimentary canal, is gone forever, is lost, and the indigestion increases, the patient deteriorates. The other thing, like ecosprin, because of there is coagulation in the blood vessels, so the drug to make the blood thin, ecosprin like medicines are given. What happens? It it thins the blood, but it doesn't act on the stickiness of kapha, of the mucosa. And in the eventuality of any ulcers inside, any wounds inside, the thin blood is incapable to heal it. That is a complication that is not been told. These are such are the side effects, adverse effects, not good side effect, bad side effect, adverse effects. The problem is, because of the sticky mucosa, you are not treating it. You are not treating the indigestion. So what Ayurveda tells is, why all these symptoms are happening is because of the sticky mucosa. Why the mucosa has changed into stickiness is because of the drying property of the maligned vayu. Why maligned vayu heat is generated? It is because of indigestion. Why indigestion has happened? It is because you have not eaten by giving attention to your hunger, because you have not drink water by giving attention to your thirst. So without thirst, people go on drinking water. Without hunger, people go on eating food. Those people have indigestion, and indigestion leads to all sort of complications. See, I have explained all the major symptoms. All symptoms can be explained with this pathology only, etiology only. In this entire etiology, I have not mentioned there is no role of the coronavirus. So what coronavirus does? Coronavirus does nothing inside for these symptoms to happen. But if the coronavirus gets inside, because it is everywhere, it is a virus, it is everywhere, and you will not be able to avoid its entry inside you, whatever you do, whatever you do. But it is not harming you. It is not the fundamental cause of your disease. Even if it enters inside you, if in your body the mucosa is sticky, then only it will stick, and then it will enter in your tissues. If your mucosa is slimy, it will just slip off and go away without harming, without any interaction with you. And the best thing, I won't say actually best, but in a way best thing, the stickiness is because of Vayu, and Vayu is more active in old age rather than the middle age and the kids. And so in kids, you don't have sticky cough, sticky mucosa. They have common cold, they have sneezing, they have coughing, everything. But their sputum, their mucosa is always slippery, always slippery. So the children are very safe. They should not be thought of vulnerable. Like a big tree, when there is a what we call wind flowing very fast, there is a storm. In that case, big trees, they fall apart. But the grass, which is flexible, elastic, nothing happens. So don't think that small is weak. Small doesn't mean weak always. And big doesn't mean strong always. Children are strong when it comes to Vayu as a cause of disease. They are strong. And just now, if you see, the children all over the world are very safe. They are out of any danger. You don't need to worry about children. Parents should, and schools should open their schools. Parents should send their children to the schools. They should go to their various activities. And I assure you, there will be no problem with the children. Because if you see, I'm running our educational institution named Jitnyasa Learning Center. We have this activity, we run it under our foundation called Swayam Shodh Foundation. The children from age 6 upwards are coming there from June. Not a single child has any problem. Any problem? No. They are playing, they are dancing, they are jumping, they are quarreling, they are fighting. All sorts of natural things they are doing. And because of that, they have their energy with them. They have their child inside them. They have their heart beating. And when it is happening, you don't fall ill. Nature gives.